So, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. So, today I have a coach, Jen Joseph, here today, and we're going to kind of talk about her story, how she got started in building a coaching and consulting business, and really how she got it going. So, with that being said, welcome, Jen.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Extus. Really
Awesome.
appreciate being on your show.
You are welcome. So, tell us, Jen, what kind of coaching business do you run?
Okay, I'm an emotional and spiritual intelligence coach. So, what that means is that I work with my clients to release their confidence, smash their fears, and restore their self esteem.
Mhm.
That is it in a nutshell, but I can go further into that if you want me to go further now.
Okay. So, how did you describe? You said emotional intelligence.
Emotional and spiritual intelligence coach. Yeah.
Okay. And what got you into that type of coaching?
Well, I always knew that I needed to be in a role where I spoke a lot as a
Hmm.
critical friend, that I listened a lot for the silent, unspoken messages, and that I could walk with a person through a problem in a methodical way. And oh, that's what I knew about myself. And but I didn't know how to get to that role. And so I would do a lot of community work. Um, I'm a minister's child. I'm a PK, so I do a lot of youth work with within the church. And I actually started running a Saturday school
Hmm.
where we'd run programs like English, history, drama, maths, and some foreign languages. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I was running a Saturday school as well, trying to work out what it is I was doing with myself, and I could do that in a voluntary capacity. And I did a lot of community development work. When I started my actual employed career, I became a race equality officer and would take cases to tribunal, employment cases to tribunal. But one day I saw an infomercial, and it was a Tony Robbins infomercial, and he was there on stage and he was doing this big thing, and he made a huge impression on me. And I had this, that's it, that's it, that's what I want to do. And so that crystallized within me the desire to coach. But before I got to coaching, I then moved from race equality to human resource management, and would do a lot of training in human research management. So my background in HR is mainly learning and development and talent management. So
Hmm.
that's what started my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you said you were watching you saw Tony Robbins's
Yeah.
yeah. I guess Tony Robbins is one of the ultimate the guys who really um exploded the whole personal development, personal growth type
Yeah.
field, right? Because I remember seeing
Yeah.
his commercials as well too,
Yes.
back in the day for personal power and those different things as well too.
Yes. That was the one that got me personal power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you decided to just basically start your coaching business, helping others. Now, how specifically do you help them? I know you mentioned emotional, is that emotional and
Intelligent.
spiritual um,
Intelligence.
intelligence, right?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? How does that work?
Well, I suppose it's an element of NLP in that it's all about decoding the emotions that a person's going through, but where NLP is about reprogramming through language,
Hmm.
what I'm doing is reprogramming through decoding the emotion to find the message in that emotion. So a person is going through something, they can't understand what they're going through. This is the first thing. They don't understand what they're going through. They just know they feel. But the kind of clients that I'm working with know that they feel, but they can't even tell you what it is they're feeling, other than the extreme ends of emotions, such as anger, frustration, or panic, or anxiety. So they can identify those very, very clearly, but all the others in between that have they're more nuanced. They can't get to grips with those because of their experience and the sort of traumas that they'd gone through previously. So emotional intelligence is more about the decoding and finding the message, whereas NLP is about recoding through language.
Hmm.
So that's basically where emotional intelligence comes from, and then it is linked through to NLP and looking at, well, what can I do differently now that I understand what I'm going through, now that I understand the message, how can I do things from a different paradigm? And that's what I love about what I do. It's getting people to transform from one spectrum to the other, where they become empowered to take on their own authority for themselves. Is most of the clients I'm working with are stuck in an immature state. They want to be responsible, they want to take responsibility for themselves, but they don't know how to give themselves permission to do that because they don't understand what they're experiencing.
Hmm. Okay, awesome. So in terms, I heard you mention NLP as well too. Have you done a lot of work around NLP?
Yeah, I trained several years ago as a practitioner
Uh-huh.
from NLP, and this is what actually led me to look at this side of the work, the emotional decoding element. There are some things in NLP that I think, no, I don't want to touch that. But neurolinguistic programming in itself is an amazing tool when once it's in the hands of a good practitioner.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's the premise of NLP?
The premise of NLP is that, um, let me see, in a nutshell, everything is already in you. Everything you need to know, everything you need to learn, everything you can do, it's already in you. But the syntax that you're working from, meaning the way we've coded things, is erroneous. It's all muddled up. And NLP then tries to take that syntax to get it into the right order. It's a lot like what you do, teaching people how to attract high ticket clients and consult when they're doing their consulting. You're trying to get them to understand that marketing has a process that if you start in the middle, you can't get to the end. So you take apart what they're doing and you show them, actually, you've got things in the wrong order. And that's basically what NLP is doing. It takes the syntax of either the thought pattern or the speech pattern, and it reorders it so that people can either and this is the amazing thing, delete past memories, actually wipe them out totally, as though they never existed. From So they're deleted from the memory, and actually we should all do that anyway. You
Hmm.
know, when we go to bed at night, we should do a period of reflection where we express gratitude for the things that we've gone through, and then inform ourselves of the things that we no longer need because they no longer serve us. So NLP will actually delete all the things that are painful, by either through a process of swishing or reversing, or well, there are quite a number of techniques anyway that are used,
Hmm.
which can be done without physical contact and just through speech alone. But
Yeah.
it's an amazing tool. It's a
Yeah.
really amazing tool. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember when I ran into it, but I definitely knew it was one of the first ones I kind of stumbled upon. And when I started digging deeper into it, I was like, man, this is some pretty powerful stuff, because I started actually using it on myself as well too. I think
Yes.
a lot of my business success came from like a lot of the techniques, because I realized the issues I was having, it wasn't like in the what to do's or the technical, the building the funnels, these different things. It was more based
Mm.
on what's going on inside of me, like how am I
Yes.
processing information. And I started getting into NLP pretty heavily. So I started like practicing doing stuff on myself. I
Yeah.
remember doing the switch pattern as well. So I've done that several times, and it's still to the day. It's I've
Yeah.
kind of wiped out old images, old things in my memory.
Yeah.
It's totally different, and it's almost like when you do it, it's like the thing never existed anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, we don't have a time machine. So why are we holding on to memories that no longer serve us?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we holding on to memories that will actually run in the background in our subconscious mind and sabotage us?
Mm-hmm.
Is what we're never taught actually how to manage our thinking. We're never taught how to improve our performance from childhood. We graduate to adulthood and get into the workplace, and then we're told by a manager, these are your targets, these are the performance measures, get on with it. And you're like, because you've got old things going on where I failed, I messed up, I got embarrassed, I was ashamed. And you run that program instead of just getting on with the job. Well, what I do is I take some of those old memories and de- detach the emotional element from it, and then look at what is the message in this emotion? What are you saying to yourself? What's the self talk?
Mm-hmm.
We have to deal with that. For this is one of the biggest reasons. Our self belief controls what we do, whether we're conscious or unconscious, because our self belief mainly runs from the subconscious element of our being. And the subconscious element is thousands and thousands of times more powerful than the conscious mind. If we don't tell the subconscious what to delete, it will just keep running, thinking it's protecting us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so powerful. And the subconscious mind is another fascinating topic as well to get into.
Oh,
Yeah, I know I didn't.
yeah.
That's why, because when I first started off in terms of just personal development, personal growth, change, transformation, those different things, because to grow a business, especially when you want to get up to that that 7 figure level, it takes a different thought process. Like you can't use the same thinking you use that
No.
got you to 10,000 or $20,000 per month to get up to
Yes.
$100,000 per month. It's like it's totally different. And I know a lot of the work I had to do for myself, it was a lot in my subconscious, which is actually going in there and programming, kind of like training my subconscious in a way, because the way I used to do it before was I used to just do logic, like, which is just the conscious mind. I used to read books, do all these different things, and I thought I would change, but it turns out I really wasn't changing. I really wasn't transforming. But it wasn't until I went into the unconscious, the subconscious mind, and started doing the work there. That's when the long-term, lasting changes started to really take root.
Yeah, indeed. I
Yeah.
mean, because you've worked with me as my coach, trying to get me to understand marketing.
Hmm.
My subconscious mind was, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's marketing. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And you were very patient with me, helping me to reframe the syntax of my thought pattern, which
Hmm.
I'm really grateful for, because now I am doing it. But I had that program running for such a long time.
Hmm.
Like, that's marketing. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the next question becomes, so when you work with your clients right now, because you said you have them decode, you said the emotions, right? Decode how they feel and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Now, when
Decode
you,
the language, the message in the emotion.
yeah. Now,
It's,
what are you finding is the most, is that a pretty easy process? What does that look like?
it's no, it's not an easy process, and people can do it by themselves, but
Hmm.
they would have to get to the point where enough is enough to be able to do it successfully by themselves, to start at the beginning and complete the whole process. Because if you do the process and you only go halfway through, you leave something behind, which will then, like a weed, grow a new root and grow a new plant. So you've got to go through the whole process. Now, what it looks like is that when you get to the point enough is enough, you've got enough drive and momentum to say, no matter what the pain, this thing is going to be addressed. And so, like the book written by Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That's what you do. You stand in the face of that fear. You do not have a conversation with it, because you'll end up in a pity party, but you face it and you challenge it. to see what benefits are you bringing. So there are certain questions that the individual can ask themselves as they go through this process if they're doing it by themselves. So, for example, they may say, when the pain comes along, they may say to themselves in the first place, is this thing that I'm experiencing true? I mean, because some pains come along because of a memory and there's nothing happened, there's just been a trigger and you
Hmm.
start to feel miserable. So you've got to say, well, am I feeling miserable for a good reason? That's the first thing. Challenge yourself and the feeling. Is this true? Now, after you've done that, then you can ask yourself, well, what purpose is this misery? Say it is misery. What purpose is this misery going to serve? How is this going to help me to live a better life, to perform in a better way, to be a better me? And as you go through that process, you have to be still. You cannot engage looking for the answer yourself. The same mind that created the situation cannot be the mind that will find the answer. So you've got to allow, and this is where the spiritual intelligence bit comes in, you have got to allow that silent conversation within yourself to arise. And so the subconscious mind will be able to say, well, I thought I was protecting you. And you think, well, how? How are you protecting me? There can be no answer if it's a destructive emotion, never an answer. And so we have to treat the lack of an answer like we would treat anything that we would want to dispose and just inform ourselves, well, if it doesn't serve me, if it doesn't bring me any benefit, then what do I want to do with it? And it becomes as simple as that. But then the hard bit happens with the detachment, because some people are really attached to their pain and their story. So that's where a lot of the pain is experienced, because the detachment can really render a person um, into a state of stagnation, I should
Hmm.
say,
Yeah.
because they then start to say, well, who will I be without this pain?
Hmm.
You know, you'll be a better person. That's who you'll be. You'll be free. You know, some people who are going through some significant issues, especially childhood trauma, um, have they're physically matured and mentally they can perform, and actually some do perform at very, very high standards, but emotionally they are a wreck. When you take them out of the formal situation where they can perform and put them in another situation, they fall apart.
Hmm.
But when they ask the question, who will I be without this pain? You'll be a more rounded person. You'll be a high performer. You become a better influencer. People will be more attracted to you. You'll become healthier. Um, you'll become more innovative, more creative. You'll become a greater authority. You'll become more integrated and a person of integrity. And you certainly will be a greater person of authority and authenticity.
Yeah. Love that. And what you mentioned as you were speaking here was you said with individuals when it comes to attaching to the pain and the story, right? So most individuals forced to change, like we have to let go. We have to see the world from a different perspective, come from a different frame of mind. But the challenge becomes, okay, how do you not put so much either weight on the past thing that didn't work, or the past, the old story that you have that's keeping you stuck, and evolve and transcend. And it's one of those things where, unless you experience it for yourself, it's very hard to even describe, right? Because I know for
Yes, that's
myself,
true.
yeah, when I was first getting started with my own journey, a lot of what I held on to were things I realized that they just weren't serving me. But then I held on to them, but then I wasn't getting the results, and I kept talking about the results I wasn't getting, but I didn't want to let go of the thing. First, it wasn't until I got through the process of realizing that, well, for you to get different results, you have to be able to let go of that pain. You have to not let that be you. Like it
Mm,
cannot be you anymore. And it's fascinating because I've kind of done it for myself quite a bit, but it's another thing to kind of help somebody else understand and get that. And I could
Mm.
see how that could be a pretty challenging thing, because most people, as you said, they want to associate, they want to keep their story, because as you said, who will they be without that story, right? Who would they be without that
Yes.
pain?
Yes, and that's part of my role as both a critical friend and a coach, not to soft soap you, but to continue to challenge and probe where the individual can't do that themselves, then I'm basically the person that comes along and shocks you, and you're like, what's that for? Well, why can't I do that?
Hmm.
You know, you want to be in pain, so I'm giving you a reason to be in pain. And so they're like, well, no, I don't actually want to experience pain anymore. My response is then, well, what are you going to do about it?
Hmm.
And then slowly the penny drops. Oh, I can actually let this go. And they do. As you know, the results of when you let go of something painful that's not serving you is exponential compared to the pain that you were actually experiencing. That freedom, that lightness of heart, that energy that you then get is incredible. You know, you think like, I'm Superman, I can do anything
Right.
just from that letting go.
Hmm. I love that, Jen. Awesome. So we're kind of running out of time here, but so if someone wanted to reach out to you, what would be the best way to get in touch?
Okay. I have a website which is envisage, sorry, eecoaching.co.uk. I also have two pages, sorry, on Facebook. Envisage Executive Coaching, which is a leadership page, and Release Your Confidence, which is the page that deals with the emotional intelligence aspect. I'm also on LinkedIn as Janice Joseph, on Instagram as jen.joseph1, and where else am I? I'm on Twitter as EE Coaching. Where else am I? Oh, and I'm on email. Sorry, I forgot that. Info at eecoaching.co.uk.
Hmm. Love that. Love that. There we go, guys. So if you're watching this interview live or on the replay, if you want to contact Jen, be sure that I'll post the links right below this video so you can reach out. Okay. Well, Jen, hey, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I've had fun.
Awesome. You're welcome. And we will talk soon. Okay.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed this time with you.